But as Matt Wordsworth explains, even though a leadership change may claw back some Queensland votes, it could lose them elsewhere.
Queensland is sometimes viewed as an outpost of mavericks and right-wingers, and yet it's also a bastion for Labor at state level. Peter Dutton's marginal seat of Dickson shows voters can support both sides simultaneously.
I'm normally a Labor voter, but the one thing I do think that he has done correctly is the immigration, stopping the boats and whatever.
It's a good man, but I'm a Labor person, so you are asking for wrong. But he's a good man. Tony Abbott. I like him.
The critical event was the Longman by-election, a loss which convinced LNP President Gary Spence that up to half of the party's 21 seats were in danger and the party was going in reverse.
I don't think the issue is whether Peter Dutton can win. I think it's simply that they feel he has a better chance of winning an election than Malcolm Turnbull.
Senior LNP figures believe Peter Dutton's great strength is in winning back One Nation voters. They admit he's weaker in inner Brisbane, but the real question is what happens everywhere else.
He'll probably get a backlash in Sydney and Melbourne. What's the end game here? If the end game is to sort of beat One Nation, I mean, it's a race to the bottom, isn't it?
The same-sex marriage vote should have told Conservatives how out of touch they are with mainstream Australia. I mean, every seat in South Australia voted yes.
If you had to choose between Malcolm Turnbull and Peter Dutton, who would you think would be the better leader?
I don't know. I'd probably go Dutton, but it's a personal thing.
If he became the Prime Minister, New Zealand's looking good.
I don't think that these issues are being driven by great policy. I think they're being driven by ego.
It happens too much. Like, we get so many Prime Ministers and they all talk a whole lot of crap, really.
ABC election analyst Anthony Green points out that no Prime Minister has lasted a full term since John Howard. Before that, there were just 4 PMs in 32 years.
It seems to have become a rotating commodity, the Prime Ministership, and I think there's a degree to which a lot of voters are getting very frustrated by this.
Back in Dickson, perhaps Angelo sums it up best.
Compared to the older politicians, they used to think of the country first, the people, the electorate, then themselves. They seem to have got the order completely askew.
And still the expectation of another leadership challenge.